I served as a social services director in accounting, and one day I had a situation and I found the sheriff department surrounding the agency. They shut the agency down, sent all the staff home, and sent me home too. There was some issues going on between the sheriff department and a board and some other folks, and there were false allegations against me. And things that really put me in a situation that could have ruined my career and my reputation. And Mr. Shipman was determined that that was not going to happen since I was not at fault in this situation. I had an opportunity to talk to 2 attorneys prior to Mr. Shipman, and I wasn't satisfied because I didn't feel that they understood my case. And when I called him, I was just so pleased to hear him say, "Get me some information and I'll get right back with you." And that's what he did. I had a phone call conference with him. He had his secretary or the paralegal to call me and explain my situation, and he scheduled time for my husband and I to come in to talk with him about the case. After hearing the case, he says, "It's fine. I'll take your case and we'll work on it." I felt relieved that he understood me and that he was looking at my best interests and, of course, my profession. And he wanted to do everything to make sure to secure the reputation I had built over 20-something years. Mr. Shipman contacted the litigants to explain what was going on and to see if we could resolve the issue without having to take it to court. I think they were a little stubborn at first, and after talking and deciding, and Mr. Shipman asking me, what do I want to do? And that's one thing that's important, because it's not just what he wanted to do or how he wanted to represent me. He wanted to keep my opinion first. And then after talking and agreeing that it was probably the best thing, we decided to settle the case without even having to take the case to court. I found myself in another situation almost similar to my first situation in 2011. At that time, I called Mr. Shipman, left a message, and he called me back that same day, and he said, "Marva, what's going on?" And I explained what was going on. And just to hear his voice on the other end, it gave me a lot of relief. And when he said, "No problem, I'll represent you. Get me some information." And I knew just hearing his voice that everything was going to be okay. I met with him and also Nutt. And at first I thought, this young guy going to represent me or help Mr. Shipman, but found him to be a very knowledgeable attorney, and we really gel well together. And Mr. Shipman and Mr. Nutt was a force to be reckoned with. You just did not come up with those 2 men. And we had a hearing. This case, I was actually terminated for a year from my job. And the case took a little over a year to settle. We did go to court on this case, and we also, the defendants appealed the decision of the judge, which was in my favor. So we had to appeal the case, and it took a little while to do, but at the end, I was restored back to my position, and everything that was taken from me was restored due to the excellent work of Mr. Nutt and Mr. Shipman. I felt almost like Rocky when he stood up on the steps in Philadelphia the day after, the day of the judgment, when we actually went to court for the appeal. And afterwards, I thought that was just going to be the end. I would go back to my office, and Mr. Shipman said, "When can she return to work?" to the judge. And she said, "She can return to work right now." And I thought they were going to say, you know, "Goodbye, Marva, we'll give each other a hug and wish you well," but they didn't. We walked from the courthouse directly to my building. Went upstairs into the building. They walked me actually to my desk and made sure that I was safe and everything was well before they actually left. And we had a little opposition at first, but then they realized that they could not keep me away from my job because there was that court order that ordered me back to work. If you just want an attorney, that can be anyone. But if you want the best attorney, Shipman and Wright are the attorneys that you would need. If you're looking for someone that you know will give their all and all to your case, they won't brush you off, that you can actually talk to them when you call, like I did all the time, and someone that's actually there for you, then Shipman Wright is the best for you. Particularly if you plan to win your case, I believe that they are the best.